Okay, so we're not interrupted because we have with us two wonderful, the dynamic duo from Growing Boulder. Now, a lot of you have already come up and talked to them, remember them. I've been getting emails all week. Oh my God, I'm so glad they're back. I want to see them. So it's a joy to have them here. We are the demographics they're looking for. Now, I am not a fan of long introductions at all. I think it robs the speaker from the time we came to see them. But I'm going to tell you a couple of things that they won't mention, okay, because they're probably a little too, I don't know, modest. They have a radio show, they have a TV show, they have a website that's dynamite, growingboulder.com. It is the world's first multimedia lifestyle and social networking portal for the 50 plus demographic. Anybody relate to that? If you missed the Sunday morning TV show, I mention this because I usually miss it, but then I can see it later online. How cool is that? So if you're in church on Sunday morning, go, oh, I can't see the show, just log on and you can see their past shows too. The Growing Boulder Media Group is the winner of the 2008 Senior Vision Media Award, presented to the media organization that has done the most to promote a positive image of aging. Yay. Give him a hand on that one. Isn't it about time? Mark Middleton is the founder and CEO of the Growing Boulder Media Group. He is an award-winning reporter. He has 2 Emmys, 5 Emmy nominations, a DuPont Award for excellence in journalism, and as a journalist, I can tell you that DuPont Award is hard to get. And 2 UPI Sportscaster of the Year awards. Now, this is not something he would probably tell you. He has already covered the Olympics in Barcelona. He's been all over the place. Won awards in all of them. Bill Schaefer, his partner in crime, his partner, Executive Vice President of the Growing Boulder Media Group. He has been called one of America's best storytellers. Remember all the stuff he used to do on Channel 2? He's one of Florida's most honored journalists for nearly 3 decades. You'd never believe it. He looks like a kid to me. He has Emmy nominations, and he has won Central Florida Press Club awards. So those are their credentials. Sit back, relax. You're about to be entertained and informed. My pleasure to introduce Mark Middleton, Bill Schaefer.
Thank you, Bobby. Bill, I think we can use that mic. Yeah, we're going to try to use 2 different mics. Thank you very much. And it is Growing Boulder, not Growing Balder, because sometimes people are a little bit confused by that. We were really a little unclear as to what kind of a presentation to make. We've got a bunch of different things that we're doing and things we're passionate about that we want to share with you. But we picked some slides that we think are kind of representative of several different things that we do. Some of them are some of the slides that we would give to a group on marketing or business people. Some are slides that we would give to a group of active aging seniors. And I think we picked a pretty good mix based upon some of the conversations that we've had with you guys earlier today. So what we'd like to do is just zip through some of these slides. Bill and I are very informal. There is some video in some of these slides we can watch. We have many more videos at the end. If we have time when we get done and you're curious to see some more stuff, if you have questions, complaints, concerns, feel free to interrupt us and we'll just kind of take it like that.
And of course the point is, through all this, keep in mind that at the end of the presentation we will ask you to perhaps buy a Medicare HMO or a timeshare from us. So keep your wallets handy as we go through this.
Well, let's get started with why we left Channel 2. You may or may not remember us. Okay, Bill was there for 18 years. I was there for 28 years. We left on our own. We like to think we could still be there despite what has happened to the industry as a whole. But frankly, we both got very, very tired of what local news has become. We got into local news because we like to tell stories, and we like to tell stories that celebrate what's happening in the community. News is whatever you define it. Bill and I chose to define it as people celebrating, people overcoming obstacles. It doesn't always have to be positive and uplifting, but stories that reflect what's happening. We found ourselves at one point on the end of a microphone, standing in front of the stabbing at 7-Eleven, as quickly as we could, doing a stand-up there, and then rushing to the place where a woman was raped in her condominium, and then doing something else. And it felt dirty. We didn't like it. We wanted to do our own thing, and rather than continue to stick around and take a paycheck that we weren't happy taking, we decided we would take a chance. We would start growing bolder. And Bill, I'm sure you want to talk a little bit.
All right, so how do you start a new business? How do you start a new company telling the kind of stories you wanted to tell? Well, Mark, big brain, that's why the hair fell out. Constantly thinking, where are the trends? And the way to make grandiose, brilliant thoughts is to clear everything else out of the way, right? To get to the core of what's going on. And we took a look at all of our favorite stories, the ones that we thought connected the most, the ones about the most interesting and inspiring people. You know, we found out almost all of them were over 50. TV stations, what do they think of people over 50? Nothing. That they're invisible. That they're invisible. Because 70% of the local news viewers are people that TV stations aren't even paying attention to. We saw that. We would come back with stories on people doing amazing things. We never thought how old they were in our heads. The people at the station would say, why are you doing stories on people that are not even in the demographic we're going after? And that didn't make sense to us. Who are the most educated? Who are the most informed? Who are the people that are watching TV and reading the papers? And the answer is they're people over 50.
You know, when we used to do market research, and I think it's the same at all television stations, the first question always is, how old are you? And this is not an exaggeration. If the answer was over 50, the interview was discontinued. Did not care what someone over 50 thought about the on-air news product, despite the fact that 70% of the people that are watching are over the age of 50. Newspaper feels the same way because we've talked to the people there. They think that people over the age of 50 are not going to go away. Television thinks people over the age of 50 are not going to go away, so they need to spend all of their marketing efforts, all of their focus on people under the age of 50, and we disagreed. People over the age of 50 have wants and needs, and if you don't meet them, they are going to go away, and they've started. So what we did is we created the Growing Bolder Media Group. We produce active lifestyle and lifelong learning content. And one of the things that Bill and I learned as storytellers in local television, and this is an ironclad rule that marketing people will tell you, a story, a well-told story that targets people over the age of 50 can attract viewers under the age of 50. The opposite is not always true. If you do a story that is designed to attract an 18-year-old boy, chances are it's not going to be interesting to a 70-year-old woman. Bill and I learned that because that's how we made a living in local television. We would go and do a touching, heartfelt story on 90-year-old Banana George, who was barefoot water skiing just after he had back surgery, but we would tell it in a way that would appeal to people in this demographic, but also would appeal to younger people. So that was kind of our stock in trade, and we felt that the fact that mainstream media was no longer interested in those kinds of stories presented opportunity for us. So it was a bit of a contrarian play, and now these are the stories that we tell, and we'll show you some of these stories and talk to you about how we tell them.
Have you ever watched a TV show that is supposedly aimed at our demographic, at people over 50? Are they the most boring, bland, vanilla things you've ever seen? How to catch the bus to your doctor's appointment. Yeah. Here are some people having a nice time playing bingo. It's embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, are there people out there that are like that? Yes, but are most of the people like that? I don't think so. People are active, they're relevant, they're engaged in life and what's going on. You're doing things. And does anybody feel like, yeah, I stopped, I'm done? No, there's still plenty to do, and there's a lot going on, and they make fantastic stories.
So why do we believe we're in the right place doing the right thing at the right time? And I got to tell you right up front, it has not been easy. We are struggling, but what we believe in what we are doing this moment more than we did 10 minutes ago, 10 days ago, 10 months ago, or 5 years ago, we will be a phenomenal success. I guarantee you that because we know what we're doing. The economy has certainly not helped, but there have been some basic changes in the way we live our life.
And In the old days, what would happen is you're born, your mom and dad raised you. Didn't you look cute when you were little up there? You would choose a path in life, right? What are you going to be? You would go to school. If you were lucky, you'd go to college. You'd pick a path. You'd get that job, and you would stay there until you were done. But breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, that ain't the way things are anymore. Times have changed because these days, you make the rules, right? We're rewriting the rules, or you break the rules and you smash the stereotype of age. Norman Olson is the sky fossil. He's 84 years old. Last year, he made 70 jumps from an airplane. And you know what? There are a lot of Norman Olsons out there. They're all over the place. And does that blow your mind or what? The rules are gone. You are reinventing the image of aging, and nobody's paying attention. That's where Mark stepped in. That's where his idea came from, and that's what we decided we were going to do. We are going to document what's possible in life that people have never done before.
So, how big of a story is this? And we're going to talk very quickly about some of the factors that make this not only a big story, but a huge story. Abigail Trafford is an award-winning journalist with the Washington Post. This, the current age revolution, the age wave that is rolling over not only this country, but really every industrialized country in the world, is the biggest, most important, most profound story of our lifetime. A direct quote from her to us. She went on to say, and I don't live with my head in the sand. I'm talking about nuclear proliferation. I'm talking about global warming. I'm talking about the AIDS epidemic. I'm talking about whatever you want to talk about. This is the biggest story of our lifetime because it is transforming literally everything that we know about the way people and the effects, the impacts upon society across are going to be phenomenal. We don't want to with this stuff because you business people know this, but very quickly, this is the most dramatic demographic shift in history. By the way, we're not boomer. We don't like the term boomer. 50 and over is good by us because that's a dividing line for age. Boomer is just a demographic cohort, a group that will be replaced by another group. What's important here is that people over the age of 50 are changing the way we live. 80 million Americans between the age of 45 and 63, 10,000 are turning 60 each and every day. The 50-plus market consists of 87 million people total with $3.7 trillion in spending power. Now, that's not news. Anybody knows that. The big misconception is that people don't understand that people over the age of 50 have the money and they spend it. In the past, they did not. They would not spend their money. And the recent economic downturn aside, we all changed our spending habits. This group controls almost all of the discretionary income in America, over 67% of the discretionary income, and make most of the purchasing decisions for all families. So it's a huge change. Bill and I call it the new prime demo, only because we got so sick of TV people telling us that the prime demo is 24 to 49. Boomers hold 91% of America's net worth. The mature market is growing 6 times faster than the rest of the population. A typical boomer will own 13 cars in their lifetime, 7 after the age of 50. And here's the big one that we think Madison Avenue should get and doesn't get, but Madison Avenue is run by people in their 30s. People have said for years that a consumer's brand preference is set in stone after they pass a certain age. And that is just, it's not our opinion that it's false. It's absolutely false. People ignore the research. How can you have a brand preference when most of the brands that are out there today didn't exist 2 or 3 years ago? We spend more time researching purchases than anybody. I've got no brand loyalty to anything. I want to get the best, most economical product that will suit my needs, and you guys are absolutely the same. So as a reason for not marketing to this demographic, it just doesn't hold water. Bill, you want to jump in on this one?
Obviously we talked about how this is such a revolutionary and life-affirming group. Well, people always say, yeah, but they're not. People over 50 don't keep up with the times. They don't use cell phones. They don't use computers. You know, they're disconnected. Well, that ain't the way it is because it's the largest and fastest group going online today. 80% of the baby boomers use the internet every day, and it isn't just for email either because 92% are making their purchases online. Why wouldn't you? Think about it. You don't have to leave your house if you don't want to. You know, you can shop as much as you want and find good value. Online spending increases with age, and people over 50 spend more online than any other age group, and that includes teens. So the problem is, when most media outlets who are trying to sell soap and trying to get big ratings look at a picture like that, they say, boring, boring, who cares? Little old lady, what are you going to do? How are you going to tell a story about that? It's going to be awful. Well, you know what? That ain't the case. Watch this.
Yeah, this is just a little more setup if we can. Ruth Hamilton is a woman who passed away a year ago at 109. Bill has been friends with her for a long time. She lived in an assisted living home in downtown Orlando. And one day we said, let's go check out Ruth. Let's see what she's up to. So we went up there, and they wheeled her out. And Ruth was sitting in her chair at 109. Nobody visited her. Relatives all gone. You know, she was well cared for, but she laid in her bed, and literally she would come to life as they rolled her out, and Bill would say, Ruth, it's Bill Schaefer. Who? It's Bill Schaefer. Do you remember me? And she didn't. And then he'd tell her something, and then she started to remember, and then he'd tell her more, and then she started to remember. And every time we went there, literally, we saw this human being come back to life. Within 20 minutes, she was sitting in her chair, looking out the window, reciting poems, and we said, Ruth, do you know about the internet? And she knew all about the internet. Do you know about blogging? She knew about blogging. She's very engaged. And we said, well, listen to this. We've got this laptop. We took this laptop. It's got a little camera in here. We said, we're going to point this laptop right at you, and you can say anything you want, whatever it is. We're not going to tell you what to say. You can say whatever you want. Ruth is a former teacher. And then we're going to put it on the internet, and people all over the world can hear you and see you. You mean I can still be teaching? People can hear what I have to do. You think my relatives in Denmark would hear this? We said, absolutely. She got it immediately, and at that moment, we realized the power of this and the internet to connect people. I don't know about you guys, but I told my parents about Skype 2 or 3 years ago. That's all they do with their grandkids now. You know, they Skype with their grandkids. And when we saw the power that this gave, and I don't want to oversay this, because we didn't give Ruth her life back, but we gave her a quality of life back that was gone. She would look so forward to our visits. She would get in here, and then people would email us. We put these on our websites. The world's oldest blogger, Ruth 1898 was her name. People would email, and we'd read the emails to her, and she was so excited and so enthused, and we thought, wow, this is going to happen. Someone's going to do this, and we wish we were in position. Create a laptop. It's just got a couple of big buttons so the fingers can handle it, and they can connect, and now people can you're not warehoused in some assisted living place where nobody can talk to you anymore. So that said, and I'm sorry to jump in here.
Before you hit that, that's a great point. How many of you know the story of the other people in this room? There are some incredible people in this room that have lived amazing lives, that have been all over the world, that have had incredible careers. Now, how interesting would that be? The days where you do let people come up and take 2 minutes to tell everybody about you. This lady here, who you're looking at, in 1916 she became a teacher. In 1920 she married a pitcher on the World Series winning Cleveland Indians. In 1930 she was the first woman to host a radio show in New York. In 1933 she was teaching diction to Hollywood starlets. In 1939, as part of a radio show, she went to Germany and she interviewed Adolf Hitler and said she tried to come back and warn the world and nobody would listen to her. In 1950 she became the first female elected to the New Hampshire legislature. This woman moved to Central Florida to retire, and she helped found the Sanford School, the historic school, restored it, and just recently it's fallen on hard economic times. There's a street named after her in Sanford. She's traveled to hundreds of countries. She was friends with Paul Gauguin's son Jean, and here she is sitting in a nursing home at 109 years old, all by herself, dying to talk to anybody and nobody to listen to her. So as Mark said, when we walked in with the laptop, you can imagine that made a difference, and this is what Ruth was like on tape.
There have been several people who have claimed to be the world's oldest blogger. Their grandkids gave them a blog, and these people would talk, and their grandkids would transcribe it. And that's cool. Whatever gets people going. But we threw this out there and we took ourselves out of the equation so people could know that this really was Ruth. We've got 30 of these on our website talking about all sorts of things, and this is just one we picked out to show you today.
We've got everything in our minds. And she's got it, everybody's got it. All different. But we're there, and if we keep using that mind, you gotta oil it. And the way you oil it is to use it. And I go over poems. I can recite poems that I learned in kindergarten, I guess.
Can you recite a poem now?
A poem?
Yes.
Well, let's see, what could I say? Oh, I could say it in Latin. Mica, mica, parvus stella, mirror quinum sisam bella, splendens imilo, arbla velit gama kylo. That's twinkle, twinkle, little star. I said it in Latin. Mica, mica, see, twinkle, twinkle. Mica, mica, parvus stella, small star. How I wonder what you are, up and in the sky so blue. What are you doing up there? I don't know. But anyway, I use my mind. If you don't use it, it'll go to waste. And that's why people get senile, they call it. Because the mind has never been used. It just sits there. But you gotta work it. Gotta keep it moving, and I sure keep mine going. I love to eat and talk.
What a great gift from a 109-year-old to the rest of us.
So we want to quickly run down and show you a few of our products, if you will. We, as Bobby said, and thank you for that, Bobby, we've got a television show on WMFE, PBS. We love it over there. We have just pitched to stations in the state of Florida. It's the only thing like it anywhere, and we're hoping that it will be syndicated nationwide before too long. We've had a radio show that's been on the local Clear Channel station for 3 years. We walked in there and said, you know, this is Clear Channel. You're not. The demographic doesn't match up, and we said, no, you're wrong. What we're doing, and there has been a misconception about this, we are not broadcasting to people in their 70s and 80s. Yes, we are, and if you're in that demographic and you watch us, we're thrilled for that. But the big numbers in the trick, the secret, the magic, is to be able to use the kind of that we can that interest younger people. And that's the beauty of this. This stuff resonates with people in their 30s and their 40s. You guys are tremendous role models and examples that the mainstream media isn't sharing. You know, when we grew up, and we look at our parents in their 50s even, and 60s and 70s, entirely different than the lives that we're leading today, than you're leading today. We grow up thinking that life was just a very slippery slope downhill after the age of 60, and that is not the case. And that resonates with people in their 30s and 40s. You know, that's Genworth has a beautiful ad out now, all black and white, where it's the centenarian ad, and the only people in it are people over the age of 100 doing really cool things. And someone said, why would they be advertising to people in their hundreds? They're not advertising to people in their hundreds. The message is to people in their 30s that if people in their hundreds are still a life like this, I better start saving. So we are passionate about what we do. Or it's not just although we think it's a tremendous business opportunity. I mean, we truly believe that at some point, you know, a major media organization is going to get it, and they've not spent any time developing any sort of market penetration or branding or content or awareness or anything, and it'll just be easier for them to come and deal with us. But that said, we would have gone away a long time ago if we didn't have passion for this, and frankly, the only reason we are still here is that we have refused to go away. There have been many times when we should have. There's been many times when it just looked like it was more trouble than it was worth, or it wasn't going to work out. But we said, no, this is what we want to do, and we believe in it. So thank you. Yeah, go ahead, nominate us.
Any other questions, or does anybody want to look at another clip, or would you like to just move on?
I'm not sure the difference between these. All right, let's look at this one.
Yeah, they're montages of some of our favorite stories.
Enough to give you an idea of a few different kind of stories.
Staying active, and the secret is finding something you enjoy. Activity that becomes a passion, well, that's really growing bolder.
Everybody focused?
Yes.
Got your energy level up?
These men and women are all from 60 to nearly 90 years old, setting a world free-fall formation record. It takes skill, timing, strength, and nerve, qualities not normally associated with so-called seniors.
And mostly it's just a zest for life, you might say, and a refusal to succumb to the idea that getting a little older means you have to sit in a cushioned chair somewhere and watch the television.
And look closely. The average age at Bike Week is now over 50, with many much older.
You're going to be 70 in a year?
That is correct.
What does this do for you?
Enjoying life.
Really?
Yeah.
At 70, you're not too old?
You want to get beaten up?
Go on, pal.
Take it
Have a
easy.
great time.
And it's not just men in the driver's seat.
We've got a huge increase in women that are getting behind the handlebars of these big, beautiful bikes. 12% of Harley-Davidson sales now go to women.
And this is the Rev that used to be exclusively for kids. But these are grandfathers, part of the fastest growing division in motocross.
We've got people out here in their upper 60s, and they just love it.
We're still good for about half a lap, but then obviously we're backing off. We got to go to work Monday and all that good stuff. So.
And it's like therapy to me. I got to do it every week. I mean, it keeps me young. I'm 47 years old, and I love every minute of it.
You don't have to get extreme to get in shape. These kickboxing grannies have found a unique way to energize their lives.
And most of these women who come in here are in their 70s and 80s.
I'm a 60 years old. I'm 77.
When they get in the door and they see that they can do it, they get empowered.
And that's Andy McGuffin's secret. He learned long ago that practice makes perfect. At 83, he's the free throw king. He once made 400 in a row.
Everyone wonders, how come you do so good? Well, I tell you, I practice, and it's concentration and repetition.
Practice is also the Silver Stars secret. This 50-plus dance team loves to entertain big crowds at NBA games.
Love it. We love to do things. We're energetic.
I think the first time we went out here, they thought, oh, here's a funny novelty act. But from all the comments we heard when we went up in the stands, they were so surprised that we didn't dance like old people.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Did you hear the crowd? They love us.
One of the fastest growing workouts for the over 40 crowd is rowing. 62-year-old Betsy Baker likes everything about it.
The fitness, the camaraderie, and the fact that rowing allows older people to continue to be competitive.
But once you learn how to do this and you get the proper training, you can do this until you're 70, 80, 90 years old.
The Village's Florida high school swim team is taking on the Village's Masters team, old enough to be their grandparents, and in some cases, their great-grandparents.
It's going to be fun. I think the high school will probably win, but boy, we're going to try to hang in there. Tough and good.
You know, they're very competitive.
Yes, we know. And so are we, and we have a good, strong team this year, and hopefully we'll win like we did last time.
They look serious.
So are we. We took first place in everything last year.
This is an intergenerational mismatch, and not the way the high schoolers expected.
So far, what's happening? How are the old guys doing against you?
Kicking our butts.
Are you surprised?
Not really.
Can you bounce back?
No.
Baby boomers have made triathlon one of America's fastest growing sports.
What's a grandmother doing out here at this hour?
Well, grandmother's having a good time. She's up off the couch thanking God that she's healthy enough to do this.
Every triathlon that I've ever been to, I've seen guys from 25 all the way up to about 89. They all have a smile.
God gave me one body. I got to take care of it. I don't get to shed it at my age, so we're taking good care of it.
Growing bolder by staying active. That's their story, and they're sticking to it.
Thank you. Did we do okay?
I'm so proud of them, like Paulette. Thank you so much. I hope you'll all visit that website now. It's so easy to get on, and they'll ask your opinion. And
It's
you can give it.
growingboulder.com, and the TV show is on Sunday morning at 11:30 on WMFE TV 24. And the radio show will be on WMFE FM starting in November. Thank you,
Thank
Bobby.
you. Thanks again.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Right? It's great. It's great to see. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You enjoyed that? Yeah. Oh, good. 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 Wonderful. I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
I agree with it. I agree with you.
Well, you know, we get to hang out with guys like you.
Yeah. Well, I keep it going.
Yeah. Is that right? Good for you. Good for you. Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Alex. Oh, good. Oh, yes. It was great. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. That'd be great. Oh, that'd be fun. Okay, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Great. Thank you so much.
And don't let your damn children tell you what you can and cannot
There
do.
you go.
Avoid them like the plague.
Are they giving you some bad advice?
I don't listen to them.
Yeah.
And I didn't get to be 89 without.
Where's Jason? Hey, Jason, come over here once. Ma'am, come back here. I just want you to tell me that again. Hold on. Just ignore the camera. Just ignore. Yeah. Just tell me. You just had some other advice.
I said, don't let your children tell you what you can and cannot do. Because you've been telling them all their lives. Why should it change now?
Are you getting some bad advice?
I don't listen to them. I do what I damn well please, and I don't live with them.
That's good. Thank you so much.
My problem.
What's your problem?
I'm 87 years old.
Good for you.
And I swim every day.
I swim 3 days.
Winter Park Tower.
Right.
Almost nobody does that.
No, that's fabulous.
And my God.
Look at you. We should come do a story on you. What days do you swim? How do we find you? Every day? I swim 3 days a week. Is this a pen?
Yeah.
Can I borrow it? I'll give it right back. What is your name? Oh, I see it. Dan Jones, and you're the swimmer. And how old are you, Dan?
87.
87, and you swim. Where do you swim?
I swim 20 laps of our pool, which adds up to about 1,600 feet, or divided.
Winter Park Towers? How do I get permission to come shoot that? Do you have email or a phone or? Yes, ma'am.
You guys should belong to this club.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we'll get on that.
I'll be one of your sponsors.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. We're just trying to keep, make ends meet these days. We're just trying to. We want to come do a story on him swimming in the pool one morning, if that's okay.
I think that would be wonderful.
How do we set that up?
Well,
Are you from Winter Park Towers? Oh, okay.
I with the foundation there. And I think probably the best thing to do would be to contact Janelle Renda,
Okay.
who is the resident lifestyle facilitator there.
Okay. Does she know you?
Yes.
Can I use your name?
Yes.
And more money. Because I can really be vital at that age. So these are the three products that we have, and we'll move through these really quickly. The GBTV show, 30-minute show, upbeat, empowering, inspirational, fun to watch for viewers of all ages. That's the only thing that gives it hope. That's the only reason it's on there. If it was being broadcast just to people in their 70s and 80s, they wouldn't be interested. And nobody believed us that we could produce a show like that. Once they saw it, they got it, now they love it, and we hope that it's going to expand. This is a montage of some of the opens from the show that we think will give you an idea of what the show's about.
What you're seeing here is the first time that we know of if this has ever been spawned, farm, egg to egg.
This may be the most unusual farm in America. The crop is 200 million years old, a prehistoric fish in danger of extinction. Now, one man's caviar dream. Sorry. Industry.
Plus, a healing hand and a gentle spirit. A special tribute to a woman who devoted her life to helping wild birds.
Now you know why birds sing, because they're having so much fun in the sky.
You got two choices. You can live life to the max, or you can sit around and let it dwindle away.
They call themselves SOS, Skydivers Over 60, and they've come together from all over the country and more to take a shot at the record books. Only Growing Boulder can take you behind the scenes, into the plane, and even in the air as they attempt to make history.
We do more in the morning than most people do all day.
How are the old guys doing against you?
Kicking our butts.
When you stop learning and you stop growing, that's the end of it.
It's never too late to have a happy childhood.
When you're rich in heart, you can make a difference. What's in your mind?
What if you're meant to do this?
Every day you have to believe in yourself.
If we can do it, you can do it too.
I'm not growing older.
Don't use that word old. We're legendary.
I am growing bolder. How do you like that?
Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Middleton.
And I'm Bill Schaefer, and this is the Growing Boulder television show.
You know, they say home is where you hang your hat. Well, somebody with a pretty big hat hung it here.
Today we are at the Villages, Florida. 70,000 people live here, and when we say live, well, that's exactly what we mean.
Today, the Growing Boulder TV show is revved up and ready to ride from the Performance Racing Show.
We are at the Golden Age Games, where we are going to see these athletes strut their stuff in everything from basketball to bowling.
But boy, does this little place hold a big place in American history.
We're taking you on a cruise 1964 style.
Yeah, you've heard of driving Miss Daisy. Well, today, Miss Daisy is driving us.
Welcome to a special edition of the Growing Boulder TV show.
The sun is just coming up on lovely Lake Mary Jane.
The Museum of Florida Art.
From Epcot and Walt Disney World.
From the Harry P. Lou Gardens.
Welcome to Biketoberfest. I'm Mark Middleton, along with about 150,000 bikers here in Daytona Beach.
Today we're at a place that celebrates the future by honoring the past.
So, you know, it's very un-PBS-ish. It moves, it's upbeat, it's fun. The radio show, we like to think of it as a playbook for life after 50. We've got a great producer who's done a tremendous job of going out and getting us incredible interviews. We talk to anybody that's got something. We've probably got the world's largest library of interviews with cancer survivors. We've probably got the largest library of interviews with masters athletes. We interview a guy live from Oxford, England, Dr. Aubrey de Grey, who they call the prophet of immortality. He's got a few screws loose, many people think. Very intelligent guy, a geneticist. He believes that the first person to live to be 1,000 is alive today. This is theoretical, but he believes it's going to happen very quickly based upon gene therapy, that there really is no death gene, that we die because of the toxic byproducts of cellular metabolism, and that the technology exists to clean that those byproducts up to give us another 30 years of life. And in that 30-year period, technology will advance enough that we can make the next incremental increase in clearing that up to reach the point where he calls it the, I forget, but at some point where literally people can live to be 1,000 or 2,000 years, which raises, in the same state that we're in now, that was our first question, you know, who wants to live that long if you, but what was interesting, he said that many people are now studying some of that has led to discussions on if people did live to be 1,000, how would that affect the way they lived? And he's written a whole paper on risk aversion, saying that, you know, if you got hit by a bus today, you know, it's tragic. If you could live to be 3,000 and you got hit by a bus, it's a pretty big deal. So he's talking about how people would totally change the way they live, and maybe not a good thing. I digress. I apologize. You can tell we're passionate about what we do.
He also said that you could live to 1,000 as long as you didn't have the cake today with lunch.
This is something new that we did. we're old guys, but you know, we're neophytes in business. You know, we're learning as we go. We're quick studies, and we've had to make everything up as we go. And you know, we haven't had a budget to hire big people to help us with stuff. We got the first grant we ever applied for to create some of our kind of content for lifelong learning, which is a huge buzzword right now. The Winter Park Library's got a tremendous deal down there. Every study that has been done, and there's been many of them in the past few years, says that staying socially engaged, working your mind will not dramatically increase the quality of your life. It will increase the length of your life. It will diminish the chances of dementia, and on and on and on. And many people believe that lifelong learning is really one of the few things that give any hope at all for our national health care in the years ahead, that if people will get with this stuff. So we pitched this to WMFE. They love the idea. So now what we're doing is and this is how we make it work. We repurpose, and we're probably telling you more about our business than you want to know, but maybe you'll find this interesting. We shoot high definition, brilliant quality video for the web. Nobody does that. You can't afford to do that. We shoot for the web because we then repurpose these 3 and 4 minute stories that we do for the web for our Growing Bolder TV show. The same stories. Now we recut those same stories into 59-second Growing Bolder learning that are now going to be both on radio and television. So we shoot really good video from the beginning, and then we just chop it up like a fish and use it as many different ways as we can. And these are lifelong learning minutes that just started on WMFE radio and television on the FM side. They're appearing 4 or 5 times a day, every day. And this is an example. This is a local artist here in town, just lives right up the road, Harold Rotenberg. Does anybody know him? Harold is 104 years old. We got a great story on our website about him, 6 minutes. This is just a little snippet of that.
This Growing Bolder Minute is brought to you by the Abram and Ray Kaplan Foundation in partnership with WMFE, because lifelong learning makes our community stronger.
Now in his 80s, golf great Arnold Palmer no longer plays on tour, but he is busier than ever, raising money and awareness for the Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children. PGA pro Brad Bryant says you can't say no when Arnie asks for support for one of his fundraisers.
It's impossible to say no. First of all, you can't say no because it's the hospital. And then you can't say no to the king. You know, that's just part of the deal.
Arnie says making the world a better place is everyone's responsibility, and he's not about to slow down.
I'm just beginning. I've got a lot of things I need to do in the future.
Former pro Laura Ball agrees.
That's what it's all about. It's a passion, and it's a true belief that each individual can make a difference.
For more inspirational examples of lifelong learning, visit WMFE.org/lifelonglearning.
Sorry, wrong one. That was on Arnold Palmer. But they're just little snippets, Arnie, and he's still out there doing his thing. And then this is the web page. Look at our front page the other day. A work in progress. We've not really had the time, the money to refine this the way we want to, but it's very vibrant. It's working really, really good. It's different than any other social network out there in that it's content driven. You know, it's where we house all of our content.
We talk a lot about how things have changed. There's one thing that hasn't changed, and that's your kids don't listen to a word you say. Doesn't matter how old they get, they don't. They'll listen to the neighbor. They'll listen to somebody down the street. So what we've done is we've created 1927 New York Yankees, a murderer's row of example after example of what's possible in life. They say there's no role models these days. You really can't bank on politicians. Athletes are who knows where they are. Performers are even worse than athletes. So there are no role models. Well, we don't believe that. We believe there are role models in this room. There are tons of role models on this webpage. They're all over the TV show, and they're all over the radio. Nobody gives them exposure. That's our mission. That's our job. We don't preach. We don't quantify or qualify. We show. We let you do the talking. We let them do the talking. That's what makes this website different than any other. Please look at it. Please tell other people to look at it, because it's a critical message. The TV show after that is the same, and so is the radio. Yeah. Oh my God, this story, I'm going to just start marking.
Yeah, go ahead.
It from there. Here is an example. This story the local news didn't cover because there was a convenience store shooting. The other reason they didn't cover it is because they don't have people that can do stories. You can stand in front of the blue flashing lights, And you could say, oh, the fire was unbelievable. The flames were this high. Roll the video. See the flames I was telling you about? We'll have more at 11. Anybody can do that. What Mark did with a 90-year-old woman is a talent, and it's a craft. And that's the difference. That's the one thing missing in society all around today is storytelling. Whether it's like we did professionally to the media, whether it's friend to friend, whether it's parent to child, storytelling has eroded, and it's almost disappeared. And that's another thing that we work very, very hard to try to bring back. And when you see this story, you'll realize, yeah, storytelling is a good thing. Everybody likes good storytelling.
Thank you, Bill. I don't think either of us admit it, but there is a little unspoken competition between Bill and I. And I will say in front of him right now that, he's the best. You never can tell what stories are going to catch on. This is one that did. So how is our website doing? The answer, or the question? The answer is this one video had 5.3 million views in 2 months. It's not on YouTube. It's nowhere. We specifically did not put it anywhere because we wanted people to come here. Not because we thought it was good. And I'll be very honest with you. We probably got 200 stories on our website that I like more than this one. 190 of those are Bill Schaefer stories. But, you can never figure out why stories catch on. This one did. After it caught on, we called some friends of the Today Show. She's been on the Today Show. Rachel Ray has called. Jay Leno has called. She was on the front page of AOL.com. A 90-year-old lady with a car, and this is that story.
This is Chariot. And this is Rachel. They've been together 43 years. And Chariot has lasted much longer than any of Rachel's 3 husbands.
But she's never lied to me, never cheated on me, and I can always depend on her.
Rachel is 89. Chariot is a
1964 Mercury Comet Caliente hot. I've had her up to 120.
Rachel is the original owner and has put every one of the over 540,000 miles on Chariot's original engine.
How much did you pay for it?
$32.89, all deluxe, power steering, automatic transmission, air conditioning.
Like a proud parent, she's documented every milestone, every birthday. This is Chariot's 30th birthday party and every checkup.
Oh, this is a 6,000-mile checkup. $13. I wouldn't buy a gasket.
Rachel knew early on that she'd keep Chariot for a long time. So, whenever possible, she bought parts with lifetime warranties.
This was the 5th Midas muffler, lifetime guaranteed. I've had 7. This is the shocks from Sears, and I've had 3 sets. This is the lifetime guaranteed battery from Penny's, and Penny's still pays for it, but Firestone puts it in, and I've had 16 free batteries.
When Rachel takes her in for service, she never leaves her, even for a moment.
Either I stay by my car or I leave. And I show them this diagram of how many places there are that has to be lubed.
So you have to educate the mechanic.
Yes.
Rachel has just returned from a trip to her 70th high school reunion.
So tell me about the trip to Pennsylvania and back. Were you alone?
Oh, yes.
How many miles?
3,225 miles. And I don't want anybody to wait on or anybody to wait for. I go when I please and do as I please. And if I see a road, I'll take off. I don't even know where it goes, and I don't care. I just want to find out.
Are you ever afraid, though? You're 89, you're a woman, you're alone, you're in a car that's got 500,000 miles on it. This is why you're not afraid?
Maybe we shouldn't show that.
You know how to use it?
I took the classes. I have the concealed weapons permit.
What do you say to people that say an 89-year-old woman should not be driving alone?
Well, let me tell you, when I got my license renewed, and they renewed it for 6 years, I stood there in a loud voice and I said, this is not right. I'm 85 years old. You should not be giving me a license for 5 years or anybody else without testing them. And they said, well, we tried that, and the elderly said it was discrimination. And I said, it's not discrimination, it's safety first.
Back in the driveway, Rachel polishes her pride and joy and is always ready for an impromptu class in auto mechanics.
That's the generator. That's the power steering wheel. This is the air conditioner. That's the cruise control.
Have you ever thought about what would happen if the chariot dies?
You know what my daughter said? She said we'd soon be burying my mother.
But that's many years and many miles down the road. Rachel and Chariot have traveled more than 500,000 miles together to the moon and back, and both are still running strong.
Thank you. You know, also the beauty of the internet is we can take as much time as we want, and that was difficult for us at first. You know, we were so used to having producers telling us that it cannot be over 1:15, 1:10. You know, so we just we let the stories lead where they may, and every story's got a natural length, and that's a nice place to be. And as Bobby mentioned, and again, thank you. We won a big award ago for presenting a positive image of aging. And again, the story of Rachel inspire other people to get out and drive, but honestly, I think other 90-year-old people that aren't Rachel and haven't built up to that aren't ready to do that. But it does. People that are 50, I look at that. I look at that story and I think, well, you know what? I can still be driving to my high school reunion when I'm 89. That sounds pretty cool. And then if we can transition quickly into one more area, and I think this is good because I talked to a couple of you folks about it. One of the things that we've done in this economy to try to keep ourselves in business, we built the platform that Growing Boulder is on. It's open source, but yet it's proprietary. We built it with the intention that when we got to the point that we would license the platform to other organizations, and we were going to pick a couple of verticals, and from the beginning we thought healthcare was the place to be. And we realized that is more true than even we knew. Healthcare is infatuated with the idea of social networking. Everybody is. And if you don't get it, that's okay. You don't really have to get it. But social networking is not going to go away. It's only going to become more pervasive. It's only going to stretch into people in their 80s and 90s. It will be on your phone. You will be able to stay connected to people in ways that you never imagined. The internet has changed many things. One of the things that it has changed is that the internet has now surpassed physicians as the #1 source of healthcare information. For better or for worse, and it is both. People would rather take the advice many times of someone they've never met than their own doctor. A 40-year-old woman who's just been diagnosed with breast cancer cannot wait to get into a breast cancer social networking group and hear from other women who have just been diagnosed and what kind of treatment. Are you going to have radiation? Are you going to have this? Are you going to have chemo? Are you going to do this? What did you say? People trust one another. And again, it's dangerous, but that's the way it is. It's empowering, it's frightening, it's whatever it is. But healthcare organizations understand that. The patient voice is now more powerful than the physician's voice. The consumer voice is now more powerful than it ever has been because you can go online and get others' opinions. So we have decided that we were going to license our platform to healthcare organizations. We've got 4 communities in the works. One has launched recently. It is for MD Anderson Cancer Center Orlando, specifically for Women Playing for Time. It's a fundraising group that raises money to fight cancers as they affect women. Their money goes to MD Anderson. A tremendously successful group, contains a lot of the most powerful women in Central Florida. They've donated $17 million to MD Anderson. They have a website, and the beauty of what we do is we drop a community right in the middle of a website and skin it so that it looks exactly like that website. Growing Boulder goes away. And this is a beautiful turnkey solution to these healthcare organizations because they want it. They don't know how to do it. They've got these big community, these big web platforms. They don't want to totally redo the whole thing, and we say you don't have to. All you have to do is put a little community button somewhere on your navigation bar, and then when you click to that, then it looks exactly the same, but it's all stuff that we built that's sitting on our server, and we're delivering our content to them. So it's working out beautiful. They like it. The thing that we had to do in order to close these deals, as much as healthcare likes this, they are deathly afraid of people saying bad things about them. They are afraid that someone's going to comment, that someone's going to get in a forum, that someone's going to upload a video that says, your doctor killed my mother. They're so afraid of that that we had to develop a moderation tool that is 100% pre-moderation. Developing a tool that moderates consumer-generated content is not that difficult. Devising a moderation tool that doesn't ruin the user experience and is manageable by whoever's running the site was difficult to do. But every keystroke is pre-moderated. They were so concerned that someone, as they're signing up, their username would be, "Your doctor killed my mother." That their avatar, their little picture would be, something that's taking a shot at the hospital. So we developed this tool, and now we think we have the only usable, manageable, 100% pre-moderation tool that's out there, and that very quickly got us several more. And then what we do, the neat thing is that we then come back and license the content, the kind of stuff that you just saw, because what we realize is there's no shortage of doctors explaining procedures. That content's out there. What it turns out like is someone who was diagnosed with whatever it is, prostate cancer, breast cancer, they had their hip replaced 3 years ago, and now they just climbed Mount Everest. And they're telling you that, it isn't over, this is I'm happier now than I ever was, I can do anything I want. We've got that, and that's what they want. So we are building that, and I think that is, that's where we are. We had some more little montages of stories here we can show, but we maybe have exceeded our welcome. We can answer questions.
Sure. I also like to mention that on our website, too, we also have a very esteemed group of thought leaders that answer questions that are big issues of the day. And one of our favorite thought leaders is Bobby Lyon, whose opinions and thoughts are on there every single time we do that. And thank you for that, Bobby.
Hi. Are there any characteristics that you've identified of these people that are so successful in their older age?
You know what? People ask us all the time, where do we find these people? And as Bill mentioned earlier, the answer is they are everywhere. And I think the leading edge of people like this, if there is an identifying characteristic, they're not waiting for permission. They didn't need to be motivated. The beauty is that we all can be motivated. We're manageable, we're malleable, we can do whatever. But a lot of the people that, they don't consider themselves different. They just have a passion for life. And I guess maybe the one biggest thing is they're not afraid to fail. They're not afraid to make a mistake. When you get to be our age, who cares? If you think you want to paint, buy some painting equipment and start painting. Who cares if you're no good? And it may take a while to do it. Whatever it is, you just can't be afraid to fail. And they're not worried about pleasing anybody. They're just worried about pleasing themselves. And that's been, we suspected it was there, but, it's motivated us so much to know that people in their 70s and 80s and 90s still have stuff they want to do. Yeah.
Story, and is it a matter of really being bold about doing something, whatever the risk is? I mean, they're really risk takers, aren't they?
Well, you can't be stupid, I think everybody deep inside what you can and can't do. I mean, one of the first things that Bill and I will tell people, kids ask us, should we get into television? My answer is no. Do not get into television. And I say that because there are a few that won't listen to you because they know, we know the odds. We know that only this small group makes any money and enjoys what they're doing. The vast majority of people, it's not glamorous. They don't make much money. It's very difficult. There's no job security. So we say no. But there's a small percentage that know deep inside that they can't do it. Gene Evans is the guy who's the aqua farmer in Pearson. He is now the first guy in the world to spawn sturgeon.
And here's another secret behind your question. The skydivers, to most people, this is all about risk. You asked about the sturgeon farmer. Is that about risk? No, it's not. Risk is not part of it. It's passion. You asked what keeps people going. A desire to participate and explore what makes them go inside. It may be ballroom dancing. It may be singing and performing. It may be board games. It may be watching the news. Whatever it is, do it, be great at it, and expand your mind while you're doing it. Expand your experiences.
When you're interviewing, how do you pull out the story from the people? And how do you shut up the long-winded?
It's a very good question, and you know, it's usually like this. That's why these things look. No, it's that's from 40 years of doing this. 48 years of talking to people and knowing how to peel back the layers of the onion. And honestly, so many people that we interview have something to say. They know that what they have to add is valuable. They know that they're helping open our eyes and change our lives. If somebody said to you, wow, what have you learned in your life that can help other people? You'd tell us, wouldn't you?
The worst thing you can do, and everybody, not everybody, but most want to know, what are you going to ask me? The worst thing you can do is tell them what you're going to ask them. And the truth of the matter is that my answer is, I have no idea what I'm going to ask you. I'd be pathetic if I had a list of questions that I'm going to ask you. I know nothing about you. But if we sat down and had a conversation and we made you feel at ease and comfortable, as soon as you tell somebody what you're going to ask them, they start trying to craft answers and you lose all spontaneity. You all know what you're passionate about, and that's what our job is just to get you going in that direction. Yes, ma'am. Paulette.
Paul, are you going to make me walk all the way to the back of the room?
First, I want to tell you how proud I am of you two.
Well, thank you.
I am so proud of you. I saw when you two first started out, I was in the group when you were talking about doing this, and to see that you've stuck with it really shows your passion and commitment. And for someone who has worked her whole life for and with older adults, I can only give you praise. And I want to ask your permission for something. I sit on the board of the American Society on Aging, on the national board. I would like your permission to nominate you for a media award.
Well, if you must.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Thank you.
Not another one.
You know what?
That's very nice, Paulette.
Thank you, Paulette. And you're absolutely right.